freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection, and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Hey folks, Dude here, coming to kind of alliteration Dude After Dark. Of course, Remy this is going to be the dog on camera edition. But anyway, so look at that stuff as it is. We now have our little furry friend, whatever. He's going to doing his own thing. And the news has gotten very, very interesting. Something that I've been following personally for a while. And it's been the massive, complete, and total, absolute, and abject, just beyond crazy UN related and potentially world goofball kind of influx of this whole thing about everybody going low carbon or carbon neutral or trying to do things that are, no carbon dioxide generating and good stuff like that there. And it is an abject fallacy to say creating less carbon dioxide is actually better for the planet. Martina Sasquatch regrets to inform you rumors of my passing were untrue. Okay, well, that's regret to inform you. Okay, I don't know what you've been into there, Martina Sasquatch, but I'm glad you came back, dude. You've been missed, and it's very nice to have you back in the chat room. Of course, other people will be showing up as well, potentially, but other people are currently watching, so I don't worry so much about that kind of thing. But anyway, like I said, going into the whole mantra of electrification is better for the planet. Not, I mean, come on. If you guys really want to see the nuts and bolts about really what it takes to make a Tesla battery pack, it is insane how much petrochemicals you're actually utilizing to make one of those batteries. Lovelock, New Mexico, I guess it is. All right, I sure, okay. For some reason, unfortunately, it has this little stupid button on my side. It's basically like it's either a heart, a smiley face, a bouquet of flowers, a surprise smiley face, or a 100. Like, hey, I'm 100% in. But that's kind of like covering where you were. It just says Lovelock N something, and I read like N like November, and then the second letter is covered up. So I'm thinking New Mexico. Nevada. Okay, Nevada. Gotcha. So NV. So November Victor, Nevada, an abbreviation therein. But yeah, it's kind of one of those annoying things they do in the chat room on my side of the equation that I'm currently looking at. I wish I could do the share screen thing, but there's some technology they do not allow us to do. And yeah, there's like a little manage button. It does absolutely nothing. There's another button up in the other corner. You don't have access to this feature. So I guess I don't send enough money off to Alphabet, Google, YouTube, call it what you will. So anyway, the electrification these guys are going on with, the sheer amount of petrochemical expenditure to generate all the power, all the mining, all the transportation, infrastructure they're in, and the ability to ship ore out of the mining area and then finally put it off to a refining area, then finally put it to a manufacturing area, then finally put it to an assembly area, then finally put it to the car manufacturer that goes, hey, we got this neat battery. We're just going to stick it in this car that we stuck together. That's only one side of it. The second side of it is also, I've just heard, not merely the fact that the infrastructure to build an EV or an electric vehicle costs so much, it's the fact that repairing them is unbelievably expensive, at least another 50 to 70% more than a commonly constructed internal combustion engine vehicle, either gasoline or diesel or propane or natural gas or, any of those other, forms they're in of flammable hydrocarbons. The repair cost for an EV on the bodywork is ridiculous for three very good reasons. Number one, it is an aluminum construction, either a monocoque or a piece type of mechanism. None of those parts are available like easily. I mean, there's actually several tiers that you can utilize for used car parts, new car parts, or what we refer to in the business as crash fix parts. You know, LKQ, like kind quality, any of those things that they basically have, you don't have it in normal stock for an EV. For the very simple reason is the vehicle population is way smaller. It's not like you go, okay, you just crashed your Honda, your Toyota, your Buick, your uh, other make therein of common parlance, very easy to source stuff for because literally the parts are out there in warehouses already. If you're talking about parts for, say, you just bashed your Tesla 3, well, you got to go back to Tesla. And they're the only guys that have the parts because it's such a small population of vehicles. They're the only guys that have them. And usually what happens is when those things get crashed, there's the second problem. You now basically have a battery pack, which might be 800 to 1,000 pounds of lithium ion batteries. Now, you can ask anybody in the business, what's the skinny on a lithium ion battery? Well, in your phone, potentially, it's pretty solid technology. It's fairly safe, mostly because it's known technology. You know, they test the things all to death, and it is a sealed, excuse me, let's close that up. It is a sealed unit, and also it's not having any of the major problems occurring to it. Now, there's videos out there where people have taken the battery out of a smartphone and they said, hey, let's see what happens if we pierce it. Well, when you pierce a lithium ion battery, lithium, on the scale of things that are reactive in terms of just it hates every single thing around it, lithium is right up there with sodium in terms of that's water vapor. And water vapor turns me into a thermobaric, really nasty thing to encounter. So you might actually have something to refer to as a chain event. So in a crash, the battery is either contiguous and integral and works okay, or it gets pierced. And once that first cell lights off, you then have a chain fire of, I forget how many batteries are in a Tesla battery pack, but it's like a few hundred to probably like 500 or 600 little battery packs all going woof, 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 all the way through like a big chain fire. And that's literally what it is every single one of these things is lighting off the next guy because, oh yeah, after this one just went pop, the next guy's going to go pop because it's going into a state of overheating. And it's gotten to the point now where the fire departments, when they come to answer electric car calls, they know do not hit it down with water. You're not going to cool it off. You're not going to put the fire out. And potentially, you're just going to make it worse because, oh, yeah, lithium hates water. So, in the process of this thing going woof and more chain fire and all the rest of that fun, happy stuff, they've now gotten technology involved where they simply go, you know what? Our newest technology to deal with these things, it's called time. We're literally going to let that car sit there for 24 hours until it stops going, and try to light itself off and self reignite. And of course, react horribly to all the other water vapor that is in the atmosphere. Okay, you're a little late on the draw there, sound guy, but yes, it's like we're talking about things reacting because it's now electronic technology. Okay, so yeah, it basically is a chain fire. These things really don't do good, and when they break, they really, really. Okay, they really crash and burn. Are you done, or are you simply going to go into the You're going to go into the
no zone.
Yeah, you're going to go into the no zone. Anyway, so these things are getting progressively more nasty to utilize because they just don't have the magical qualities that these screaming memeites in the UN and all these other nations that are trying to stick this stuff in our land. And I don't know why they say China is still a developing nation, but they do. So these guys get a heads up. They get some special accreditation from the group of people who are I got this one. Yeah, we're talking about the UN guys and these world screaming memeites about icebergs melting, the polar cap reducing, less polar bears, too much CO2, but yet these are the same a-holes who go flying into these meetings using private jets, which burn way more fuel, way dirtier than your commercial jets. And in these gatherings,
I say we take off and nuke the entire bitch from orbit.
okay, on that one I okay, on that one I agree with you, sound guy. Basically take off and nuke the entire bitch from orbit. So anyway, these guys get together and they come up with these policies and they say they're going to do all these things. And in the process of doing these things, they now institute something that is pretty much a physical impossibility. Looking in the room. Oh, Patriot Fever. Appreciate you coming by, dude. Patriot 3-4 misses on station. Squatch lives. Called cute pretenders and awesome basic. What? I don't know what you're going on about there with Patriot Fever about Squatch lives. Yeah, and all of them cook off like a T-72. Yes, they do. So static electricity grenades, good or bad? Okay. Static electricity grenades? Dude, that's a new one on me. I've never heard of anything like that, but that would be just sound guy. No. Okay, so you're saying that there would be a big splash if you use the I don't know about splash. You're talking about something that would be even nastier than that. I mean, it would just be
death by snoo.
Death by snoo. Yeah, I thought you said bangs. What was it? Moo bang splash. Sometimes he just he goes on tangents. Okay.
Oh my.
Okay, that one completely. Okay, the third thing about the EVs. The third things.
It's spicy.
They're not sound guy. No, they're not spicy. All right. They have major problems technologically related because our battery technology is just yeah, it's just not yeah, it's just not there. And all these guys that fly in with these private jets, decreeing that mankind must kowtow to their will.
You dick.
Okay, I think he's okay. Okay. I got it decoded now. What Sound Guy is saying is that get together is a total crap fest, right? Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. It's a total crap fest when these guys get together there, Sound Guy. Am I decoding this correctly? So nice. Thank you. Mercedes Sasquatch for 600 in tools and parts. I can make one EMP that will fry fry 1 square mile from the hillside at 500 feet. Okay. Well, that's the other thing too. I mean, they keep going on and on about like, we'll be invaded by a foreign power and all the rest of it. If the Chinese really wanted to dick us up really, really bad, and this would really completely hurt them too, just a couple nukes in geosynchronous orbit, basically like East Coast, West Coast, midpoint, set off those 3 nukes. We're done because we can't live without these and all the technology that we have. We simply can't live without that. And an EMP event or a CME, if you guys know about your stuff concerning like sun-based nasty stuff, would positively just fry everything. So anyway, also the third problem is essentially technologically, we're just not there yet. We're not ready for the insertion of EVs to be the mainstay of American society. I mean, also, there's the technological shortcomings. They don't do good in cold weather. If you're stuck in traffic in cold weather, they're going to be doing 3 things on their own. One, they're going to be running down. They're going to have less efficiency. And the third problem is is the batteries only work in a proper temperature range, so they're trying to keep themselves warm. And in the process of keeping themselves warm, they're sucking themselves down. Charge times on EVs, well, you only have to run it up to 80%. That can take 20 minutes. Yeah, but what's your actual range when you start running around in cold weather? Or if you start running around in really, really hot weather? Because the secondary problem that battery has is overheating. So the air conditioner might not just be running for you, it's running to keep the batteries cool. So you have that secondary problem. The battery's trying to stay in that happy range of 90 something to about 105 degrees. Well, you're driving around at 120-degree temperatures in the desert. That AC is cranking like a mad dog trying to cool the pack off. In the process of cooling the pack off, it's slurping the battery down, trying to maintain its proper temperature range so it doesn't overheat. In the cold weather, it's trying to maintain the temperature so it doesn't have, temperature thermal events saying like, oh, I don't know, it's cooling off along with outside temperatures. Yeah, cold weather is not good for EVs. On the plus side, for gas engines, 5 minutes to recharge. We basically could sit there in the cold nastiness until the tank of fuel runs out. We're basically maintaining heat, keeping the batteries charged up, and the car is, or the truck, or the whatever it is working just fine as long as we have fuel. Also, they say, 20-minute recharge time. Yeah, so great. Drive 180 miles to recharge in 20 minutes. Who wants to take a 500 or 600-mile trip and stop every 180 miles for 20 minutes? And they're going, well, you can get out, you stretch your legs, you can fuel up, and I do mean like recharge. Who wants to do that when they have a car or a truck with 300 to 500-mile range? I'd rather just simply just stay in the car, haul ass, and go, okay, well, we need to make a gas stop. Well, we'll basically make a pit stop. That'll be also, the car takes 5 minutes to refuel. You guys go get some food, hit the bathrooms. We're back on the road again in like 10 minutes. And that's like a long pit stop would be 20 minutes. Just give me 1 second here. I got some good swiggage, also known as Tigger juice. Patriot Fever. You'll stick with this 454 powered tank in miles per gallon, or you mean gallons per mile, before getting one of those screw EVs. SCR capital E E small W big V screwies. Screwies. Yeah. Anyway, so the technology is really not there yet. So how bad has it gotten for some of the big guys? Well, it's gotten so bad that GM has now made the announcement. Ford already said that they're going to be idling their stuff because nobody wants to buy a Lightning 150. Also, excuse me, that's a YouTube video. They want you to buy people don't want to buy the Lightning EV Ford pickup truck. Why? Because the range is a joke. It doesn't haul worth anything. And yet again, we have that aluminum body that makes it very, very expensive to repair. So that's the first one. I didn't think that was a video. I thought it was a story. But anyway, so the GM CEO to all EV manufacturers, you guys might have some issues. Let me blank out the sound real fast here and open it, see what it is. I thought it was a news story, not a YouTube video, but I don't want to take a copyright hit by playing somebody else's stuff. So let's wait for a second here. Hopefully they got something in the video description. And General Motors moved to electric cars and lose money and sell them. They'll reach their lottery. CEO says roof is on fire. What's that mean? Basically, it sounds like they're not doing any more EVs on GM to the level and depth and breadth in which they thought it was going to be. Turn my sound back on here. See, I just didn't want to take a copyright hit. Sound guy, what are you doing? Stop that. Sound. Stop. Oh, you trying to do the guy from Breaking Bad just before he blew up the other guy? Stop. Just stop. This, I cannot tell you how funny I think this is. This guy is probably one of the most, how do you say this without saying this? I got the sound guy. Pejoratively snarky liberal late night talk show guys. Okay, that's about as good as I'm gonna get on that one. Okay. I'm not gonna get any better than that. If I do anything else, I'm simply probably just gonna just go
Juggling Thunder Crunch.
cork juggling thunder crunch. Okay. Well, anyway, um,
I'm juggling thunder.
no, you don't. No, that's not. No, that's not a sound guy. Sound guy. Cork juggling thunder crunch. No, sound guy. No, that doesn't qualify. But anyway, he is a particularly
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
he gets on a tear, folks. Anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel, he's freaking out because he's saying on the Hunter Biden testimony that the GOP may, quote, make stuff up. Okay, now here's the thing I think is really just unbelievably hilarious about screaming liberal, Democrat, socialist, call them what you will, on the other side of the aisle, those guys. I think it is absolutely uproarious that they assume everybody does stuff the way that they do. Oh, we're going to cheat, we're going to lie, we're going to steal. Everything from A to Z, the way in which we do our minor mechanizations of being complete and total butt bungs. Everybody else does that because, oh yeah, we're all in the same group of people. No, Democrats. No, we don't do things the way that you guys do. Even though I am a Democrat, in Maryland, registered, even though I really am not. I'm more somebody that really wants to screw the primary and the main election process. That's why I did that. But he assumes that the Democrats and the Republicans and everybody else involved in these things do everything exactly the same because their guys are such piles of sound guy. What would you say that would be the appropriate sound effect on this one? They are such appropriate piles of monkey feces. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, monkey feces. Got it. Yeah, steaming, stinking piles of monkey feces. Anyway, Patriot Fever. Sounds like sound guy was having a slow night at the Secret Harris recording studio. Yeah, I think she may have been busy and he didn't get much sleep observing or something. I don't know. But anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel assumes that everybody's going to do all kinds of snarky crap the way that they do it. Well, if he's doing a primary testimony, it's not to the public eye, which means they can ask all kinds of snarky, really just nasty questions on the guy, and he can either choose to answer or not answer, but they're not public until it becomes a secondary form of testimony. The first one, he ain't going to do it. Speaking of other guys who are really, truly taking it in the tailpipe right now, this tickles me to no small degree. But I think right now, it's actually a three-leg stool. The implosion of Bidenomics, the flat out and out rejection of you need to go EV, you need to go green, you need to save the planet by not doing these things that you normally would do. Stop eating so much meat, breathe less, put out less CO2. It's better for the planet. Anyway, so looking at things as it is, this one coming in from newsmax.com, this one I find to be extremely, it's good stuff. This one coming in Newsmax, like I said, global woke investments have dropped 5 trillion with a T time with a T, 5 trillion in a 2-year span. Now, why is this happening? Well, because even stupid rich liberals go, you know what? This isn't a winning plan. I'm going to put my money someplace else where I know I'm going to make some profits. So even those guys who are complete and total hard chargers, willing to just completely hose anybody in the process, knows it's a costly enterprise to invest in something nobody wants to do, use, or buy. Excuse me 1 second here. And I do have some attached stories to that one as well, so stand by on that one. But coming into the news story, global investments using quote-unquote woke environmental, social, and governance standards, or ESG, led to trillions of dollars of losses in a 2-year span, especially in the U.S., according to a recent report. The biannual assessment by the Global Sustainability Investment Alliance, or the GSIA, showed the absolute value of unreported sustainable investing ESG assets, along with addressing social justice, climate change, alongside biodiversity and nature loss, has dropped from $35.3 trillion in 2020 to only $30.3 trillion in 2022, a 14% decline. Stand by on this one, folks. People are going to see that investing in something that nobody really wants, and it's a political mantra to use these things, you're going to find that more people than not don't want to get involved in these things. The decline was no more apparent than in the U.S., where governors in Republican-led states have pushed to block ESG investments at state and local levels. Congress earlier also this year moved to nullify the new Department of Labor rule that allows retirement plan managers to incorporate ESG standards in their investment decisions. But President Joe Kaka vetoed Congress's action, and the new rule has survived court challenges. The GSIA assessment showed ESG investments in the U.S. went from $17 trillion in 2020 to $8.4 trillion in 2022, a drop of 50.5%. The only other region that showed loss was Canada, which declined from 2.7% from $2.423 trillion to $2.358 trillion. Europe, Australia, New Zealand, and Japan saw substantial gains. Well, they can invest all they want to in this stuff. As long as we're not paying for it, I don't care. Excuse me 1 second here. Quote, the market for ESG bonds decreased significantly in the past 2 years as state leaders from across the country have fought back against the injection of woke politics into the bond market, said Will Hild, Executive Director of Consumers Research, and as he told the Daily Mail. Assets under management by ESG funds in the U.S. declined from $339 billion in the second quarter of 2023 to $315 billion by the end of September, CNN reported in October. ESG investing in the final quarter of 2023 continues to be a story of declining flows and assets under management. Robert Jenkins, head of global research at Lipper, a U.S. financial services, told CNN. So he said the ESG investment has a fairly stable growth line before the COVID-19 pandemic. Then the pandemic supercharged them and everyone started jumping on board. Well, also they started jumping on board, spending money like stupid people, as the workforce was pretty much not doing that. Martina Sasquatch room. I shall not eat the bugs. I shall get chickens, and I shall eat the bugs, and I shall eat eggs. Watch that like a hawk, dude. Yeah, well, that's the other thing too. Is also this stuff they're going on about, like, other food stuffs that are fine. Dude, if you want to eat bugs and consider it a planetary, good thing to eat them as a protein source, I'm not taking that away from you. Have a blast. If I choose not to, that should be my choice. You shouldn't foist it on society saying, this, Thor's hammer, this is the way to save the planet by having bugs. I'm sorry, what are the bugs going to be eating? Yeah, you don't just go, hey, here's a happy little bug. We're going to feed them something yummy. And, oh, yeah, we're just simply going to do it in such a way that everybody's going to be feasting on these bugs because they're so spectacular, so high in protein. And, oh, yeah, when you add it to other things that really kind of disguise the lack of taste of, like, beef, you'll be able to eat them. I don't want a bug burger. Let's see. Scrolly. This, I think, is absolutely stuff that needs to have happen. Coming in from AmericanJournalDaily.com, the RNC simply doesn't get that they are also part of the problem with the swamp, and they better get their establishment heads out of their respective fundaments before they get tossed out too. From the Post-Millennial, ahead of the 2024 election, the Republican National Committee has dropped to a low of $9.1 million in cash at hand, the lowest in any Federal Election Commission report since February 2015 for the committee. Quote, We're going through the same efforts we always go through to raise money with the same donor meetings, retreats, digital advertising, direct mail, but the return is much lower this year. If you know the answer, I'd love to know it. The staff has managed to tighten down on expenses to keep the party from going into the red. Okay, the reason is you guys keep going on and on and on about Trump is not the guy. You keep rejecting the notion that people are tired of R's and D's that act like you guys. They're tired of the same stuff over and again. And they're really, really, really tired of having our faces rubbed in the fact that, well, there's no real way to fix it except to simply just spend more money, go further into debt, and oh, yeah, do all these other policy items that don't fix the base problem in the first place. Big time. These things really, truly need to get fixed. And the problem is you have incumbents. They go there, they stay there, they spend their entire careers there. And do they fix anything? No. The R's and the D's say each other's the problem the whole time. All they do is trade the ping pong ball back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and they don't fix anything. In fact, it could be said that anytime they have a chance to fix anything, they truly don't have a way to fix the problem other than simply blaming the other guy. Thanks there, Marines. So anyway, any of these guys get in office, and if they try to affect any kind of change, they immediately go, oh no, my contributors to my next election won't like me. And I don't know what I would have gone there, sound guy, but a politician goes into office. Once he's in office, he spends maybe 15% of his time actually doing his job. The other 85% of the time, he's coveting election money. Yeah. Yeah, he's coveting election money. That's really all he's got going on. He's just give me money so I can stay in office. Anyway, so when a politician goes in office, they act like they're really hardcore, and but after a little while, they are just not doing it. They get to be very just they kind of wimp out. All right. So anyway, Republicans are now, the ones that said no to Trump, they're now getting a really hard reality check that people are going, dude, we might like him back, okay? Stop acting like he's not the guy that we really, truly want. Let's see. This one I think is really interesting. I actually spoke about this one before. Disney making the big confession that it cost them a lot of money to be the way that they are. Oh, whoa, no. Oh, geez, yeah, here's the rest of the story. Disney has finally done some tabulations. Yes, they've done some math. And what kind of math did they find out? Well, they've lost nearly $1 billion, with a B, $1 billion from 13 movies that are unbelievably woke, and people have rejected them. All right. Anyway, so going in from patriotalerts.com, Breitbart estimates that Disney will be forced to report nearly $750 million in losses across 13 movies that failed to meet their studio budgets this year. Many of the titles garnered headlines for controversial diversity casting or progressive narratives that included gay or non-binary characters. So essentially, they're playing around with no, sound guy, no. No, they're playing around with another side of the aisle, okay? Another side of the aisle. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yep. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, so anyway, stop that! Stop doing that, okay? That's just... Okay, so you went from Yellow to the Who. Okay, thanks. That's good. All right. So they basically said a lot of these movies, they're trying to switch things up. They're going counter on things, inserting character aspects that really truly don't belong. Like a Little Mermaid starring Halle Berry. Why did you have to stick a black person in there? I mean, even like the Asians are like, wait, like they try to send it to China, and the Asians are like, why did you put a black chick in there? We're used to seeing white characters. And it's really kind of no, it's just not doing it. Another movie called Elementals, animated film about periodic table characters featuring a non-binary supporting cast member. Lost 1.5 million. The biggest loss reserved for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which lost $158 million. Okay, the reason why that movie failed, the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, why that movie failed is because you have a really strong male character like Indiana Jones who's being chased around by this 20-something Karen telling him everything he's doing wrong. So the whole thing about dad's an incompetent, mom is so much better, the kids are smarter than dad. That's the kind of thing that they keep throwing out there that really people are going, you know what? I'm tired of seeing this crap because, yeah, it might be funny on a stage when somebody's doing, stand-up comedy. It's not the same thing when you keep projecting it in a movie and rubbing our noses in it constantly. We don't like it at all. And that's why you're failing. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys heard about this one, but this one was one was it was funny. It was quite funny.
You've got mail.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but it was one of those ones where you can't write this stuff. But man, I'll tell you what, it was it was funny when it happened. Okay, sound guy, what are you doing? Anyway, so pagerfavor.com, Biden's White House Christmas tree falls down. I think I know why. I think that there was a cat incident. Yep. Kitty got in the Christmas tree. Yep. So anyway, this thing falls over and they got it propped up now with a crane. Oh man. This is stuff you can't write, okay? Basically, they put this tree up and sound guy. I don't think it was a cat. I don't think it was a cat. I don't sound guy. There's no cats in that video. There's no cats in the picture. There's no cats. Okay, I think we're good. There was no cats in that. But anyway, the tree toppled over just to show pretty much how bad things are working out for Joe Kaka in the White House. Even his trees can't stand up. Yeesh. Excuse me. Tiggy juice. This one is huge. I mean, you think about a state like Connecticut, hugely blue. Typically, it's seen as like a suburb of New York City because, the thing about Connecticut is it's actually not that small a state. So you have a fairly good sized area, and the houses, while the houses are not cheap, you definitely can get a house with a decent amount of property around it, unlike New York City. The only way you get a lot of property in New York City is you go up. That is the only way you get a decent amount of acreage is you got to go up. And you're not going to be buying anything cheap. You got to start talking about M versus like thousands. You start talking M as in millions. Now, when you go to Connecticut, yeah, you're probably still talking something that might be, millions, but at least you're going to have a house on a decent set of property area versus like basically apartment or an apartment building or, like Taylor Swift did. She bought like 2 buildings side by side, had them gutted and made one big building. I guess so that's now her quote unquote mansion. But if you look at the thing, it's a block of houses. It's a block of buildings. It's not like it's anything all that different from everybody else. It's basically a bunch of buildings all in line. They're all attached to each other. You have road noise in front of you. You have road noise behind you. And oh yeah, you also have that wonderful piquant odor of people pooping on the sidewalk around your place of residence. No, you don't have that in Connecticut. Not to say that Connecticut is the best state. I've been there several times. The place, as a New Yorker, it's boring. I mean, it literally is like, okay, I'm done with my work day. It's time to go home. You go home to a quiet house. That's what you have in Connecticut because there ain't much going on there, man. That place is like just quiet. It is like suburbia. If there was a state that was suburbia, that's Connecticut. That's Connecticut. It is more suburbia than Ohio. Okay, that's how lame Connecticut is. There's nothing going on there other than it's a dumping off area for all the rich guys that don't want to live in New York City after they've made all their money in New York City. That's what it is in CT. But anyway, it is so blue. It is blue beyond measure. One of my friends that actually did reside there now resides in Florida. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's night and day difference between living there and living here. It's like completely a different animal. The management, the governance, everything is completely 180 out from the previous. And so it's now got to the point where even CT, patriotalerts.com, the governor has slashed the EV mandate as a huge blow to the climate cult. Connecticut Governor Ned Lamont, a Democrat, has withdrawn his ambitious proposal to ban the sale of gas-powered vehicles by 2035. Remember that year, folks. Marking a significant retreat from aggressive climate change policies. The decision has been hailed as a victory for consumer choice and economic pragmatism by Republican leaders and energy market advocates. The proposal, initially framed as a decisive step towards meeting climate pollution reduction targets, faced mounting bipartisan criticism over concerns about the state's electric grid capacity, the financial burden on middle-class families, and the overall readiness for an EV-only future. Okay, that's it in a nutshell, folks. You don't simply take 500 to 600 million vehicles and go, you know what? Trash them all. Everybody's going to be driving electric vehicles. Oh, yeah, there's not enough plugs to go around, but make do. And folks, you can look around on the internet right now and you'll see pictures of lines of electric cars all lined up going, yeah, I got to wait for this guy to get done, then I can plug in, charge my stuff, wait for that guy to get done, then I can charge my stuff, wait for all these other guys to get done, I can charge my stuff, especially when it gets cold. Those batteries just go by themselves. Because they're trying to maintain thermal efficiency or simply because they're cold, they don't work as well. I can tell you for a fact, the difference between my phone and Mrs. Dude's phone is night and day because she has to leave her phone in her car when she goes to work and it's a secured facility. My phone basically stays on my person. It's in a nice temperature surrounding. Most times it's warm. If it's cold out, it's in my pocket. It's not getting chilled. It's usually not getting cooked. It's staying at a nice medium operating temperature. It's not getting the worst of it. Mrs. Dude's phone is. And I can tell you for a fact, the lifespan on her battery versus my battery, which are really close in terms of milliamp hours, they're pretty close. I think they're within 500 milliamp hours of actual capacity. I think hers might be just a little bit larger than mine. I'm running a Note 9. She's running a Samsung 10 Plus. So her screen's just a RCH bigger than mine, but I have a built-in stylus that she don't. That's the big difference there. So I like something I can write notes on. I just like the Note. I think it's actually a rather decent phone for my uses. But anyway, so the way, shape, and form, we find ourselves now looking at these things, and the situation they're in is the EV guys are now starting to go, oh, snap. Things are not working out for us. This is not going to be good. Scrolly. This I find very, very interesting. All this crap they've been throwing at Donald Trump in terms to, it's okay. You can see it for what it is. Okay. There's a classic way that communists take down their opposition. If they can't flat out just, murder them or dispose them off to, the gulags out in Siberia or someplace like that, or they just can't do something else. They dirty them up as much as possible. They try to make them look as guilty as possible. The whole preponderance of the seriousness of the charge, because this guy is so disreputable. He's so horrible. We can't deal with him. This, that, the other thing, blah, 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 all the rest of this, who shot John type of stuff. But it's now coming out to be very, very interesting, this New York thing that they've been throwing at him, going, oh, yeah, the loans that he was getting, he overvalued this, that, and the other thing. It was so sketch the way he was doing stuff. And the thing about it is the guys that actually did the loans are even now starting to go, or they were going, and they have been going, and have been very consistent in going, that which we did together was not that big a deal. The loans were paid off in time. There was never a late payment. We never had an issue worrying about if we were going to get paid. Donald Trump's credit is like great. Dude can ask for scads of cash and he'll get it. So anyway, coming in now from truthpress.com, Deutsche Bank executive testifies loan to Trump wasn't unusual. Now, if anybody's going to be snarky and probably extra, introspective on the bunghole, it will be Deutsche Bank, or the German bank. So the Deutsche Bank may have just blown up on Letitia James' civil fraud case against President Trump. Radical Marxist New York Attorney General Letitia James is seeking $250 million in damages when there is no victim in the fraud case. And she's also seeking to ban Trump and his sons from operating any businesses in New York. She accused Trump of inflating his assets and defrauding lenders and insurance companies. But the Deutsche Bank executive, who worked to approve at least one of the Trump's loans, testified on Tuesday that it is, quote, atypical, but not entirely unusual, end quote, to reduce a client's asset values and still approve the loan. This type of lending is typical in high net worth, high profile clients like Donald Trump. Anyone with a basic knowledge of banking, lending, portfolio, and credit risk management knows this. Quote, a Deutsche Bank AG, which is basically like a German incorporated thing, Deutsche Bank AG executive gave testimony to bolster Donald Trump's defense in his civil fraud trial, telling a New York judge that a prospective client could get loans even after reporting a net worth far higher than the lender's own calculations, end quote. Bloomberg, like Bloomberg News, Bloomberg reported, and Bloomberg hates Donald Trump. David Williams, who worked on at least one of three loans Deutsche Bank made to Trump in the years before he was elected president, testified Tuesday that it is atypical, not entirely unusual in a bank to cut a client's stated asset value by 50% and approved the loan anyway, as it did with Trump, Bloomberg also reported. I said also. Williams testified that Trump's stated assets are merely an opinion, and a difference of opinion in asset values does not disqualify a potential borrower from a loan. Quote, it's just a difference of opinion, Williams said, according to Bloomberg. Late last month, far-left New York judge Arthur Engeron blasted Trump's lawyers, said fighting Trump for legal profits is an available remedy in a fraud case with zero victims. Okay, if there's zero victims and nobody had a single problem with it and everybody got paid and there is no problems associated with any of the loan or anything else going on with it, why do you feel the need to fine him? There's no real finding of fact of guilt. You're just fining the guy. You're trying to make it so that he has to pay out money to New York City. Why? And here's the rest of the story. New York right now is destitute. They are spending $5 million a day to deal with all those migrants that they brought in. It was like, come on, guys. We're a sanctuary city. It's all cool. Come on in. It's great. And then they're going, these guys are really pain in the ass. They're kind of really costing us a lot of money. This is not good. But we're dedicated. We'll be strong Marxists. We will do these things and do these things and do these things with other people's money. Well, they're looking at $250 million from Donald Trump going, that would give us a little cushion, man. That's free, clear money that we don't have to worry about extracting from those people who are paying their taxes and anybody that's stupid enough to still live in New York City. We basically get money free and clear. And the investment is relatively cheap if you think about it, because prosecuting might only cost, $3 to $5 million. So we would have a $245 million windfall. Sure. Yeah, let's do it. That's why they're doing it. They're trying to extract the maximum amount of cash out of Donald Trump, even though they know he's not, quote unquote, guilty of anything, but they still could stick him with a fine. Those are all air quotes, folks. Pager fever, 250 million would last them what? 40 minutes? It would buy them a little bit of breathing room. It really not much. It would buy them a little breathing room. The budget of New York City is so unbelievably bloated and caked with just disgusting levels of graft and payoff, and who knows where the money goes in reality because everything is just thrown everywhere. So they stick and they screw everybody. Why Donald Trump has any more property left in New York City, I have not a clue. But I did hear something funny. Somebody posted this up as a meme, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. What he needs to do is he needs to wreck Trump Tower and all the rest of those properties that he has and turn it into multi-level parking. That's it. And not let anything else happen to it. It's multi-level parking, and that's all that's going to stay on there. Well, if you think about it, the tax load and the tax burden that you're going to get from multi-level parking, you're not going to make that much money off it. You're really not. And Trump would be laughing all the way to banks because it would be a simple write-off at that point. Scrolly. Scrolly. Hang on a second, jump over here. This one I think is amazingly, absolutely, justifiably needed. When you screw somebody over and you're a media outlet and you do it to a conservative and they catch you in the process, you need to pay. An Australian judge has ordered 2 media outlets to pay American economist Peter Schiff more than $500,000 for defaming him. In the latest fallout of the bizarre scandal in which the IRS and the government of 5 other countries joined together to target Schiff, a frequent guest commenter on the conservative media with the biggest tax evasion investigation in the world, despite poring over every detail of the bank he ran in Puerto Rico, authorities failed to come up with a single charge. But government agents apparently leaked existence of the investigation to the New York Times and Australian media outlets The Age and 60 Minutes, both of which owned by Australian media giant Nine. The journalist then took Schiff's advocacy for low tax policies as evidence that he would break existing tax laws. Remember that thing where I said, basically they do that kind of crap so they think everybody else does? Yeah. Just give me 1 second here. The media reporting on the unfounded investigation led to a series of calamities for the bank, culminating in being shuttered by a Puerto Rican regulator, with the IRS falsely claiming credit for the closure and suggesting because it was a money laundering and tax evasion. Excuse me, I got a cat on me. Even though the investigation substantiated neither of the charges. Tax agents appeared to work closely with the media on that infamous press conference. The New York Times learned that the bank was being shuttered, purportedly because of the criminal probe Operation Atlantis, before Schiff did. Officials violated the law by disclosing the existence of a grand jury of reporters. With little recourse against the U.S. government, Schiff sued the journalists who seemed to be in cahoots with the agents in Australian court. He named The Age, 60 Minutes away, as well as 2 reporters, Charlotte Grieve and Nick McKenzie, who worked in an over-the-top video segment as well as an article. The Australian judge ruled that the television segment was defamatory, but the article was not. Just give me 1 second here. My throat's being weird. The Australian journalist strongly suggested that Schiff was guilty of money laundering and tax evasion crimes, and the case showed the need for more financial regulation. The story came as Australian politicos were pushing for the law to give the government new powers to monitor people's money. Schiff was made a poster child villain. Discovery of the lawsuit gave insight to inner workings of major media outlets and suggested they were determined to make Schiff's bank Euro-Pacific play such a narrative role. Interview notes and transcripts showed that their own sources often told them the Schiff's bank was religiously compliant. Then they used fast-cut editing to give the impression the witnesses said the opposite. Gee, how's that sound familiar with the kind of crap they do to Donald Trump in this country? Yeah, so they got to pay now. That's good stuff. Just give me a second here. Let me scroll this real fast. I forget what this was about. Okay, I'm not bringing that story out there. That's not one I wanted to bring out. Oh, this is a cute one. This is a visual, and I need to actually show this to you guys. Hang on 1 second here. This is going to be a visual, so give me 1 second here. I need to cheat the phone So I can actually like show you guys on camera here. Just give me 1 second here. So scrolly, 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 scroll, 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 scrolly, scrolly, scroll, scroll, scrolly, scroll, 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 scroll. I post a lot of memes. Sometimes that's part of the problem. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see this. Let me drop my brightness level there. Now, this is a notice that I actually did receive on Uber. It's still a little too bright. Hang on a second. For some reason, this camera is like really hypersensitive to stuff. So essentially what you're seeing there is Uber has now got battery aware matching if you rent an EV or if you have an EV. So with the battery aware matching, you connect your electric vehicle to the driver app, and then you'll receive notice for charging stations. You know, the only okay, that's what it was. For the driver app, then you'll only receive ride requests that are within your battery's range. So you're now basically limiting your ability to go places and do the things that you need to do. Milo's being obnoxious today. Anyway, so what you're doing there is you're limiting your ability to actually work an area because your car is limiting the area. I'm sorry. I'm going to stick with my internal combustion vehicle simply because I can go wherever I need to go to knock out runs. I don't need to go, oh no, I've only got 12% of battery left. I can only drive these 2 5-minute rides and then I'm out. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of sketch stuff, but they are really pushing the EVs on Uber. As a matter of fact, they're like, hey, you want to rent an electric vehicle? Hey, you want to rent an electric vehicle? Hey, you want an electric vehicle? We got electric vehicles you want to rent? Ah. He's being annoying. So that's something that they're now pushing really, really hard with Uber. And I ain't biting. I'm not biting. I'm not going to take something that's going to hose me and not allow me to do those things I need to do in the timeline, in the distances in which I need to do it. Not interested. Not interested. Scrolly. This one's a really short one. I can go. The whole $6 billion that was supposed to be kicked out from, I think it was Qatar or something, supposed to be kicked out to Iran. Well, it just got stopped by the House GOP. They said, you're not getting that money. Not happening. Nice try. You're doing all these little satellite operations, you know, pumping up the Hutus and, you know, all these other dirt bags that are screwing with Israel. No, not doing it. Not doing it. This one also I find completely unbelievably interesting, but this one also is one of those things that really positively is something earned, and it's trust. Trump has actually earned a good amount of trust in the black community because he said, look, if you vote for them, you're going to keep getting the same stuff. If you vote for me, you might get something different. What do you have to lose by voting for me? And they voted for him. And in the process of voting for them, or their votes for him, he proved to them, look, you can trust me because I'm going to do these things, jail reform, funding black colleges, other good stuff like that there. I intend to do these things, and he did them. Well, anyway, how much is it working out for him? Well, this one coming in from AmericanJournal.com, but also going over to the Daily Wire. There's a guy who actually is a co-founder of Black Lives Matter, Rhode Island, and said this, quote, I like Trump personally, and I think right now who we have sitting in the Oval Office is just a deep disappointment. I deeply have disdain for him, and I really dislike the vice president as well. Wow. So Trump responded on BLM's activist praise by praising him on social media and floated the possibility he has done more for the black people than any other president in history, which is true. He's actually done more than, well, if you read the Emancipation Proclamation and you know your history, it didn't free all the blacks. No, it only freed some of the blacks. And the blacks that were freed were in predominantly northern states. And they were not like, oh, we're going to force you southern guys to do these things. No, it was in areas where they knew they would get the most bang for the buck. Most of the people would notice and go, oh, you're so brave, Mr. Lincoln. Thank you so much for doing these things. You've done something really obvious we now can applaud. Yeah. Pedro Fever, dude needs to start a conservative wheel service for woke Uber. Well, the biggest problem is Uber is based in San Francisco. Uber is pretty woke. I mean, that's the thing about it is, though, I think it's really funny that, I basically operate conservatively, earning my own pay, working for a fairly liberal organization, and I am not beholden to the woke things whatsoever. That's one of the things that really annoys me about Lyft too. Is Lyft is like pink this and look at that and this, that, and the other thing. Uber is just a black and white sign. I mean, that's the other thing too. It's also in my car. I have a black and white sign in the corner of my windshield. That's a lighted LED sign that says just Uber. It's black and white. That's all it is. The whole Lyft thing is like goofy colors and whatnot. I do have the Lyft app turned on, but I haven't driven Lyft rides in a year and change, mostly because the guys I was dealing with, complete and total dirt bags. And I do mean that in the highest possible honorific sense they're in. I mean, they are creme de la creme crap bags. And I am tired of dealing with dirt bags. So when I deal with a dirt bag on Uber, it's fairly infrequently. And if I do deal with one, I don't deal with them again because I go, boop, and they are blocked. And if they're a real, total, complete, and absolute dirt bag, I drop the wheels of justice upon them, and they can deal with that one how it falls suit. Scrolly. This is what I find completely interesting. A new poll about Joe Kaka from Fox News. According to the survey, just 36% of American adults said they had either a, quote, great deal or a, quote, some confidence in the presidency, while 17% say they had a little and 47% said, quote, not much at all. Okay, folks, if you do the math, 17% and 47%, that's not 36%. Or is it 40? Well, I guess it is. Somebody did the math. I guess it is. All right, 64% versus 30. Yeah, okay, so somebody did the math. It is 100%. Dang. All right. This I find completely obvious for anybody with a thinking brain in their skull. Israel finds dozens of rockets in a Gaza home under United Nations boxes. What were they under? Well, the IDF revealed Saturday it had found dozens of boxes in a private home in Gaza City. Underneath boxes labeled for United Nations Relief and Works Agency, or the UNRWA, the institution devoted solely to Palestinian refugees. This one coming in from Truth Press. The Times of Israel reported troops of the 7,007th Reserve Battalion were searching a house in a neighborhood when they found a room full of boxes bearing the logo of the UN agency that supports Palestinian refugees. Underneath the boxes, dozens of rockets, mortars, and other explosives were found, the IDF says. Separately, troops of the 414th Combat Intelligence Collection Unit operating in a home in northern Gaza found grenades, weapon parts, and other military equipment inside a child's bedroom, the IDF says. Folks, these guys are absolutely disreputable pieces of I got this one, sound guy. Absolutely disreputable pieces of no, they're not quack, sound guy. No, they are just you
dick.
Yeah, just disreputable, just
Dick.
Yeah, just complete and total
Dick.
Yeah. If they say they're for peace, they are full of complete and total. Yeah. When it comes right down to it, and you have the Israelis and the Hamas guys going at it. I think those are pretty much done. I mean, it's now gotten to the point where the Israelis are like, yeah, that old phrase of ours about never again. We mean it. We really mean it. We're not going to basically let these guys do the things that they're doing. And it's going to be very, very not great for you in the process of doing these things to us. This one's come out. It's going to be kind of, I don't know if it's scuttlebutt or if there is good information here, but there's now a rumor floating around that Trump, when he runs again, will have a Veep who we all really, truly could believe in. Possibly one of the nicest guys I saw standing on that floor as potential presidential material. Anybody that ever really talks to the guy or interfaces with the guy is like, oh yeah, he's a good dude. He's straight. He's really nice. Absolutely one of the smartest guys in the room. I mean, scary, scary smart individual. And it's now come out with a scuttlebutt that, well, Trump is thinking of running potentially with Ben Carson. I have zero issue with that whatsoever. Ramaswamy, I don't trust him completely. He says the right things, but his past history is very, very squishy. Very squishy. But Ben Carson, very solid individual. Very light on the political, stuff. But you know what? So is Trump. And that's something I think we need at this point. We need clean slates. We need guys going in there who really, truly are not inculcated with this whole political mantra of, oh yeah, we have to be like this, or we're going to be this, or we have to do all these, pollings, and we have to listen to the groups of there and use the proper phrases and words. It's all crap. It's all crap. We need some clean slates here, and I tend to think along the lines of possibly Carson may be more libertarian than he wants to admit. Yeah, that's a good point, Martina Sasquatch. He said, what about Trump and red flag laws? Well, I think what it is I think Trump may have been doing something maybe a little bit smarter than most people give him credit for. He was playing three-dimensional chess. He let the Supreme Court, which he put in place as a fairly conservative Supreme Court, knock down gun law after gun law. And you notice what's been happening to red flag laws? They're getting knocked down. They are not good legislation, and they are seen as unconstitutional. So anytime they've been put out there and you build a previous case that goes, yeah, this is bad juju, it's done. Heller, Bruin, and all these other good laws that have come out and all these good findings of fact, good stuff. It's good stuff. Scrolly. I really don't know if I want to play it here because it probably is copyrighted because it was on Fox News. But on my Facebook page, there was a conversation between Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis was like, "Dude, here's a picture. This is an app, and it shows your area, and it's like the whole thing is like just this big nasty brown state." He goes, "This is a map of San Francisco showing where there's human feces." I could not do it justice, and oh my stars and garters, I was just simply just, yeah, it was, yeah. Did you wipe and wash your hands? So anyway, trying to walk the streets of San Francisco. I think you got some on your shoe, buddy. I would not want to go back to that town ever again. I'm going to pass on that one. Scrolly. There's another story that's come in. Supposedly they keep going on about like, oh yeah, Biden's from Delaware, and he's actually from Scranton, Pennsylvania. But I'm not going to get into the whole story here because it's getting a little late in the game. But voters from Biden's hometown are holding nothing back. This is from truthpress.com. They're saying in Scranton, Pennsylvania, he's the worst president ever. Wow. Paying honorifics, of course, to the previous first lady of the Carter administration, Rosalind Carter. We send out our prayers and well wishes and rest in peace, ma'am. And I tend to think right now that Jimmy really has nothing left to hang around for. He can go, you know what? Thor's hammer. I am not the worst American president. The wife is now gone. It's time to join her. I think he's got zero reason whatsoever to go, you know what? I'm really going to stick it out for, to seeing like the big 1-0-0. I think he's just going to go, I'm out of here, man. I'm out. I'm tapping out. I'm done. Bye-bye. Scrolly. I tend to think it's rather interesting that, Disney is now targeting Bob Iger is now targeting Elon Musk with his ads on X/Twitter. But they're trying to sort of work the agenda and they're grooming kids or they're saying something. He said something stupid. He's apologizing for it. I tend to think along the lines of, eschewing Disney. As a Jew, I got to agree with Elon Musk said, where he said, basically those guys who really go hard charging for everything is an insult and this, that, and the other thing is just too much. But you know what? Disney, you guys are just pedo enablers. Disgusting. All right, so I'm going to close on this one. Let's see real quick here. Scroll. Anything else popping up that I need to know about? Anything else? Anything else that I got to know about? Anything else? No, I think we're good. Anyway, I did find this one, and this one positively cracked me up. But supposedly some guy was basically holding up a sign. I forget where he was protesting, but I thought it was hilarious. Like, roses are red, tacos are enjoyable. Don't blame a Mexican just because you're unemployable. On that note, I think we're done, folks. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Good stuff like that there. Got a Tuesday. You guys hung out with me. Got many other things to do, but you guys hung out with me, and I truly appreciate your kind attention. I will catch you guys next week unless I pop up something newer. But you guys hung out with me. You get a gold star for attendance. I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one, and I will see you then. So I'll catch you guys later, and well, see ya. Catch you guys later.